All right, fantastic. Welcome to the first week of 4 months. We have 4 months together, which is super exciting for the medical intuitive certification. And this is by far my favorite. Do I say that about everything? It's my favorite. I don't care. It's my favorite because some of you guys are going to be hands-on healing. And when you are hands-on healers, this information comes through really easily and you can help your clients. Two, say you don't want to do hands-on healing. Like I've done it for so many years, I don't plan on ever going back at this moment in time. But I'm able to look at somebody without doing the hands-on healing and give them a reading and a diagnosis for what they have or what they need help with. And it's all across the board. I find this practice in chiropractors, so chiropractic offices, and there's some really. I'm finding out. I've been introduced to a lot of chiropractors lately. They're very well-rounded. I think that's the right word that I can use, and diverse in many different practices and things like that. So when you learn or when you develop your abilities, your skills, if you want to take it to other formats, you definitely can. Even in like right now at hospitals, we have Reiki in hospitals, but medical intuitive, you can become a medical intuitive Reiki practitioner. And sometimes doctors allow them in their offices, just like there was medical Reiki that was out there that is well known, right? Medical Reiki goes in for surgery. If you don't know that, you can actually have a trained Reiki practitioner that is for surgery be there and hold space while the surgery is being performed. So you can do that upon the request, and the doctor just needs to sign off on it, and somebody can come in and hold that space. So just to let you know, if you're ever in a situation where you have a surgery or anything coming up, you can also request it for there too. So more and more people are coming because of the medical industry, and they need a different approach, right? Because it's not all just working, give me medicine and my symptoms go away. We have reoccurring illnesses, we have reoccurring disease, and we're finding more and more that has to do with your emotions, has to do with your spiritual aspect, has to do with your mental state, like depression, for example, and how depression shows up in the physical body. And we're going to go through all of this stuff. So this class, I could talk to you for hours about it. Sincerely, my favorite. But I made you a PowerPoint to keep me on schedule. Just so that I don't. Okay, so everything's going to be in Podia, right? Where you guys signed up at. Everything's going to be in Podia. I think I'm just going to keep all my classes there so you guys can just go and log in at any time. And then everything will be updated throughout Podia. We also have a Facebook group, and I know that you guys have requested for the Facebook group. I'm going to let you guys, accept all of the things, invitations. That way, if you have any questions during the week, or if you need help with something, or if you experience something and you want to share it with the group, I love this group because it's a smaller group. And in smaller groups, we tend to be closer knit, right? So you're going to share your experiences and how you're doing. And by the end, I want you to be fluent in psychic abilities and in reading and interacting. So that's why we have a Facebook group. You don't have to be on Facebook because I know that some people aren't, but that's going to be the place for conversation. And if you have any questions or anything that comes up. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start. If you guys have any questions at all, just let me know, write them in the chat, and then that way we can go through it. I found out how to share my screen for my PowerPoint, which it wasn't doing it before, but now it is. So how do I make my screen bigger? There are things that I just don't know. Oh, okay. New computer. I told you guys, new computer. You got to give me a second as I click on things because it's a Mac. It's just like my other Mac, but it's bigger and I just don't understand it. All right. Okay, medical intuitive. If you have a journal, I always say at the beginning, keep a journal for all the classes. Okay, all the classes, because you'll start to write notes, and by the end of the 4 months, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, look how far I've come, or look at what I did. A lot of times people don't keep notes, like, you know, dream journals, right? And you're like, oh, I had a dream. Did you write it down? No. I did that the other day. My journal is texting my friend. Do you remember what I told you when I had a dream? Do you remember what I said about that? When I should have just wrote it down, and I just didn't. So writing everything down, seeing how things move through, perfect. That's what you need. All right. So introduction, our program, 4 months of intensive medical and intuitive certification. So we're going to go through your psychic abilities. That's a big part of the first month, of how to have that X-ray vision to see through the body, because you're seeing through, and we're going to talk about it in a minute, but you're looking at everything psychically, right? Using your intuition. And if you don't develop your intuition, it's going to be a lot harder to understand and diagnose people, right? Because then you're going to sit there and say, well, I don't really know. So this is a big component of the program, is actually developing your intuition. The creation of health and wellness. We're going to go through the creation of health and wellness. Now, you're already well, you're already healthy. It's actually removing the obstacles of you blocking yourself from becoming healthy. So that's really what we're going to go into, which is different, because most people say, well, what can I do to become healthy? But we want to take out the things that are blocking you from your health. For example, sugar, right? Sugar is a big block when it comes to health and wellness. And it's, well, why are you doing that? What's going on there? How can we move through that? Because when you take that obstacle out, then you can bring the health in. You're already healthy. You're already healthy. Your body came in. You're healthy. You're here. We're taking out the stuff. And sometimes it has to do with spiritual aspects too. So we'll dive into that. Importance of belief systems all across the board, and anything that you do, it's about your belief system. And I'll always ask you, what do you believe to be true about this? Doesn't matter if you believe me or not. What is your belief around this, right? Because we all brought up differently. We all have different belief systems. And then how to align yourself to healing. All right, so that's the meat and potatoes of the course. What is medical intuition versus regular intuition? Good question. Intuition is when you use all of your psychic abilities to know something without evidence or reason why, right? You just know something. Prophecy, you just know something. You're like, well, I'm just intuitive. I don't know how I know these things. I just know these things. They just come to me. That's intuition, right? You feel something, you sense something, that's your intuition. However, medical intuition is when you find the cause of the physical condition using your psychic scanning in your biofield. So I was thinking about this today. My kids are in school. What do I do psychically? I'm like, okay, I'm going to zing them, zap them, see what they're doing. And I'm like, okay, how are they doing? They're doing okay. Did I go through their field to see if they're sick? Did I say, oh, does my child have a fever today? Let me just go through the scanning. I didn't scan them. I just used my intuition to sense what's going on, right? Medical intuition is the physical body. So if somebody would have told me that years ago, when I started to write out all of these gingerbread people, I would have loved it. Because I'm like, I don't know why I'm drawing them out and going in through the chakras and what's going on here. But that's a medical intuitive. You go into their energy field to see what they are holding on to, the emotions, the scanning of it. Okay. So many parents use medical intuition daily, right? When your child comes in without any training, your child comes in and you're like, oh, doesn't feel good. Oh, you know what? I go, what's going on here? And usually I can find out, or I hear the diagnosis of what's going on, right? We have to go in, we have strep on our hands. We have to go in, we have COVID here. We have to go in, we have this, right? Just by looking at the child, right? Or sensing, okay, that's an ear problem, pulling at the ear, there's something going on there. Like usually we have something instilled within us that does medical intuition automatically. We just dive into it. But now you guys are going to do it on purpose, like 24 hours a day. Okay. All right, the role of a medical intuitive. You never diagnose. You never diagnose. So when you are seeing something, and that's going to be hard, I'm just going to let you know. You can say, hey, I would advise you to go see this doctor, right? I advise you to go here. You cannot diagnose. I see something in your aura that needs to have alignment, needs to be fixed, needs to have something going on, right? So let's take, for example, I was in this guy's colon. That sounds funny. He came in for a mediumship reading, and I'm supposed to be reading his deceased mother. And instead, I can't help myself. His colon is like highlighting on me and highlighting and highlighting. And I said, okay, well, let's go into this. And he said, what are you talking about? I was like, your colon's highlighting on me. What happens is when something highlights, it either doesn't hit the field yet, meaning it's coming into the field, okay, or it's physically there. You can see things that were in the past. For example, if somebody hurt their back in a car accident, sometimes that does show up because there might be an emotional aspect around it. But usually you see something that's coming in or already present. So anyways, I was in this guy's colon, and I said, you have a lot of hurt and you have a lot of grief in here. And I said, but it's been passed down, like you've held this before. And he said, well, my dad and my grandfather both died of colon cancer. And I said, okay, instead of saying, hey, I see something not great, I said, you should get it checked out. And he said, but I'm not having any physical problems. I'm like, that's nice. Sometimes we just need a colonoscopy. They're not bad. Have fun. Right? Go for it, tiger. Right? Keep your eye on it. Keep your eye on it. So you can't diagnose it, but you can say what the energy is doing in there. It looked blocked to me, right? Well, that's because it's ancestral and passed down. So you can find the language that you need to by looking at the energy and diagnosing the energy field and not the actual whatever it would be, because that would be a medical doctor. Unless you're a doctor, then you can diagnose. But if you're not a doctor, you can't say, oh, I see cancer. Oh, I see this. Oh, I see that. You're describing the energy that you see. Okay? Very, very important. Number 2, medical intuitives do not heal. So medical intuitives, that's 2 different services. You read, that's a service. You heal, that's a service. All right, they're 2 different services. You can blend them together if you want to. I don't know. Okay, wait a minute, watch on that. I used to say you can come in and I would do everything as in a package. So if I'm going to do a medical reading, if I'm going to do a mediumship, if I'm going to heal, I did it all together. Normally, what happens is in an office, in like the chiropractor, whoever has an office for it, you go in and it's a reading, point blank, a reading. That's it. Healing is different. And you will find that in some offices, if you're going to tag team with other people, they're not accepting to healing, but they're accepting to reading. Okay? So don't feel like you have the pressure to heal the person that's coming in, because that's not what they're asking for. The person who's coming in has probably been around and can't figure it out. We're usually the last resort, unless you're very wide open and awakened. Like, for example, when I got diagnosed with MS, I was like, I need to go find a medical intuitive. Read me, because I'm afraid I'm going to miss something on me. So I asked for an outside source, right? So usually when people come to you, you're not the first. They've been around, they've done all the medical work, they've done nutrition or acupuncture, whatever, and they just can't figure it out. And then they come to you. So they really want information of why this is happening, of what's in my field and how to fix it, versus getting on a table and healing them or sending in energy. Okay? 2 separate. So I'm just saying, don't add extra pressure to you. That's saying, okay, I need to fix this problem, this person, from front to end. Okay. Now, a medical intuitive does give an overall assessment of the whole body. When I say whole body, we're going to go into different dimensions because there's different dimensions for healing. And we're also going to go into the spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional aspects too. When I say different dimensions, we're going to talk about the dimensions in a minute, like third dimension, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, up to 12th. We're going to go through the dimensions. However, when a person comes in and they have this physical issue, you have to diagnose the energy of the physical condition. So where did it start from? You're always the person that finds the root cause, right? The root, where did it begin at? What belief system are they holding on to that they're continuing this pattern? What I see, I get a lot of cancer patients because if it's reoccurring cancer, like the cancer went away and then it comes back. And they're like, wait a minute, I've done the whole entire treatment, I've done everything. How come it's not away? So you and sometimes it's just difficult circumstances from like clients that come in, they're not in great positions. So you also have to be empathetic. You have to have compassion, right? As you normally would. You guys are healers normally, right? You come in as a healer, that's what you want to give is empathy and compassion. Anybody that sits down, and it's not about blaming or judgment, it's locating the pattern that it originally came from and releasing the imprint or closing down the imprint so it doesn't happen again, so it's not activated. And one of the things that we'll get into is trauma and how to release trauma from the field, because you'll find a lot of clients. We're at the coolest part in life. I don't know if you know that, but right now it's a very cool time. It might be a little hasty out there, but it is so cool because we get to sit down and we don't follow the rules, right? I think about people who say, okay, 9 to 5, they get up, your blue collared, white collared people that go into work and they're like, they do the same thing, right? 9 to 5, 9 to 5, they get up, they do that. No, we are like, what does my soul want to do? How do I want to be? How can I heal today? It's amazing. So we cannot think the same way that we used to, but we are right on the transition point from the old to the new. That's why we're so important. We are all helping people with transition. How do we go from that thinking, releasing the trauma? Wow, we talk about trauma now. We didn't used to talk about trauma. Nobody talked about it. It was hush hush, my friends, hush hush. And now everybody's like, bring it to the surface. Let your emotions come up. Let's heal it. Oh my goodness, high five. I love this era. I'm just happy to be glad to be like alive right now, because back in those other lifetimes, not fun. Not fun. But we're at that point where things are shifting and changing, and it's happening so rapidly. Like those solar flares that are coming in, they are awakening so many people. The dimensions are getting so thin, and we overlap in time and we overlap in dimension right now. It's not going to be forever, right? We're going to have to pick which dimension we're going to be in, which is going to be fantastic. We'll talk about that in a second. But when we go over to the higher dimensions, I can't wait. I want dragons and unicorns and I want to fly. Like, how much fun is that going to be? We're going to get there, but we're in the transition. We're the transition people. Anyways, don't get me off. Go back over. So give assessment of the over wellness of the whole body. We have to look at all the aspects. So when I go to the doctors and I'm like, hey, I have this wrong with me, a rash, right? They just diagnose the rash. And then they say, well, this is what it is. Here's some cream. See you later. Well, now the rash came back, right? Oh, well, let's go for a more powerful cream. That's what you need. And maybe you need a steroid for that. That's what you need. But there's so many different layers to this than just putting the cream on and calling it a day. That's why I love this stuff so much. We can actually heal. That's what I'm trying to say. We can actually heal when we do this work. So where do you get your information from? I always found this interesting because at first when I was receiving information or like seeing your deceased people, I didn't see them with my eyes. So I'm like, okay, there's a field of information. That's what it is. It's just a field with information all around here. But where's the information coming from? How is this working? What's going on? when I go to sleep, these are the things that I ask and I think about, and I can't fall asleep until I get answers, okay? So in order to utilize this ability, we need to scan from the third dimension, the 3D, the physical, right? Our physical self, and go up to the seventh dimension. The seventh dimension is where the key is. So we'll talk about the fifth dimension too, but it's really the seventh dimension where we heal, where we find information. And all the classes are going to come together. So if you've taken my Akashic Records class, we go up to the seventh dimension to receive information, right? You get as high as you can. You go through all of the layers, go up, 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 and then you reach the tippy top where you feel. I don't know if you've ever been when you're in meditation and you start to like move and you're like zinging. Do you move in meditation? Yes, Deb does. When I get downloads, I literally cannot stay and I don't try to maintain. I go in circles. Like I am constantly shifting back and forth until I get the whole download and then my body comes still and then it's complete. That's when I know that I'm there. Okay. So the third plane, client comes to you and has a physical problem, right? The problem has manifested in the physical body, into the physical reality, right? That's where you meet them at. Hey, I have a rash. That's where I meet you at. That's the 3D. This is the hard stuff that we see with her eyes, the third dimension, right? Sometimes it goes into the fourth, but we're going into the third right now. Fourth has no time. Okay, let me turn this off. And then we go into the fifth plane. Excuse me for 1 second. Thank you. Okay, just turning off my ring. And this is where you're going to access your intuitive abilities, your fifth dimension, right? This is where there is no time. So when I'm looking at you as a 3D human being and I'm using my senses, I'm now accessing the fifth dimension. It's so funny. I always say it's funny to like look at people, wonder what dimension they're in. We were talking about ETs in our last class. I'm like, you're going to walk around looking at people and wonder what planet they came from. Now you're going to be wondering what dimension they're on. The unconscious people that haven't like waken up, they're still in the 3D. You using your psychic abilities, you're going to the 5D. Okay. Then we have the 7th D. This is where the creator is, the creator of all that is. The creator of all that is. And I feel like if you're going to say creator, God, source, what's another word? I can't think of it. All that is. The all that is, right? And everybody's like, what is that? What is the all that is? Unconditional love. Know that we are all connected, that there's all oneness from the space, right? That is, it doesn't matter if you're reading the Kabbalah, if you read the Quran, if you read the Bible, if you read Course in Miracles, right? It's all the same, that there's this big, powerful, divine source energy, the all that is, that everybody can tap into. And it's available for us all. And you get the overall sense of oneness, of love, of that togetherness. And that's where manifestation is. That's where healing is, right? So the day I was laying in my bed, I don't know what I was doing in bed. I wasn't well by any means. I was sick. I don't know if I had an MS flare. I don't know what was going on. But I went into meditation and I went up, 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 up as high as I could. And this golden liquid substance light came down. Wasn't white, it was golden liquid, came down. And I knew that that was the highest healing I've ever received. And it went all throughout my body. And I felt literally 100 times better as I kept coming down and kept going down. And I went, can I have some more? Can I have some more, please? But I had a hard time tapping back up to that high frequency again, right? But it's a frequency. And then when I started to sit down in meditation and I just poured in my being as high as I could, the light as much as I could, that's when I can see all of the colors. It's like this, you get pinks up here, you get blues up here, you get golds up here, but it's like pastel colors that come in. Then I started to make requests for like manifestation. And then my manifestations came true. And I was like, holy shit, now what? We're at a whole different level. What is going on here? Right? What's going on here? So we need to tap into the highest frequency that we possibly can. And this takes practice. Sometimes it's just practice getting up there and going through the dimensions, right? If I go in, I was on the radio a few weeks ago. I sat with a 3-foot Mother Mary statue in my car holding her because I was going on the radio for, it's like 25,000 listeners, okay? So I am meditating 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm meditating. I arrive 2 hours early. I'm meditating. I go into their office. I am meditating because I need to be at the highest I can before I walk in so that I know I'm getting all the downloads. So anytime I do group readings, that's why I have to have a driver. Don't talk to me because I'm stupid. I'm airy. It's not working, right? But that's where we can all be there in that space. Excuse me. So I said all of my classes, my Akashic Records, the energy healing, medical intuitive, it's going to give you a well-rounded education of everything to help other people in this. In every course, it's the same. Open your psychic abilities, tap into the highest frequencies you can, into the divine, right? Crossing people over, what do? You tap into the highest frequency you can. You open up your abilities. Medical intuition, the same thing. Akashic Records, same thing. It's your intention and where you want to go with it. So let me show you how this works. Here's a person who comes in, say she has a rash. You're going to go into your 5D, open up your intuitive abilities, right? And then you're going to tap into the 7D. Hey, what should I do for this person? What information do I need to know about this person? All that is, right? Same thing with the Akashic Records. You go up as high as you can, all that is. When you tap up here into the 7D, see how happy that person is? They have lines around them. Then it comes back down. So the 7D, right? All that is talks to you. So you get the communication through your psychic intuitive abilities, and then you're able, to communicate to the 3D reality again. So although you're looking at somebody, it doesn't look like you are moving through dimensions. There's nothing that says, hey, I entered into 5, I enter into 7. Okay, I'm going back down 5. Okay, going back down to 3, right? You're still looking at a person as you're normally looking at a person, but you will transition through these dimensions and then come back down. All right. So a lot of times when you're hitting that 7th dimension, your brain is either moving extremely fast and you're getting downloads, or in my case, I slow everything down. Most people are one or the other. You're either going to speed it up or you're going to slow it down. I slow everything down so that I don't have a thought. And then sometimes I go, oh, I catch ya, right? I caught my thought. It goes, I don't care. I caught that thought. I can worry about that later. Caught that thought. I can worry about it later. And then I concentrate on my breathing. And then I find myself stop breathing. And I'm like, oh, I'm dead. And I literally have this thought. And I'm like, I just died because I don't have any thoughts. I don't have any breath. That was it, Amber. Don't do that again. Right? And then you try to get your frequency back up a little bit. I swear, I had a client call me and she's like, I know I died. And I was like, I've been there. I know what you're talking about. It is when you literally become one with everything around you. You're in that oneness together. It's crazy. I love it. I love it because I don't use any drugs. Like, it just comes naturally, right? For all of us to dip down and go up. So that card is kind of cool. All right, so your main intuitive abilities, there's 3 that are the main ones that everybody uses. You have empathy, which is always found in your solar plexus, where you experience another person's feelings by projecting your electromagnetic field to connect in with their feelings. So for example, and do we do this intentionally? Sometimes, like kids do it a lot. Kids are just tuned to do it. They want to know how other people are feeling. Were you an empathic kid? Or you can be an empathic adult, right? And what happens is you are literally throwing your energy out to read another person's energy of how they feel, and then you're bringing it in so that you gain information of it. Okay, and you do it naturally. I do it when I'm having a really hard time reading somebody and I'm like, okay, nothing's coming through. Then I project my energy out bigger so that I can grab their energy and bring it in. Okay, that's empathy. It's understanding the other person's feelings and emotions. So, a physical medium, if you are a physical medium, you will actually feel or sense things in your body. Do you ever watch Teresa Caputo and she's like, I taste blood? Yeah, that's a physical medium. Or, oh, they're laboring of my chest. So that's when you physically feel something in your body, but you don't have any rhyme or reason for it because the information comes through as a feeling within yourself, physical medium. So, and you can control it. Sometimes I used to go to like restaurants and I would be so overwhelmed, not by dead people. I was overwhelmed by all the emotions and feelings going on that I'm like, oh, I can't do this, right? You have to really identify your abilities, what's you, and what is intuitive information coming through. And that's going to help you in medical intuition. Because if you don't know your starting point, the reading that I did the other day, I was like, didn't want to get out of bed. If you're going to say depressed, I was like, I got nothing better to do today. I just want to stay in bed. And I'm like rolling over. And my husband's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm in a crappy mood. I don't know what it is. Just leave me alone. And he's like, well, that's weird. And then I went to go do the mediumship reading and I was channeling this lady and she was the reason for my issues, right? Because I was connecting in with her. And for whatever reason, they always come in for me for mediumship like a day ahead of time or even strongly in the morning, but it's usually a day ahead of time. And I forget every single time. I'm just like, man, I'm moody today. Like, what is going on, Amber? I'm just a moody, right? And then I start to read, and after I do the reading, I'm back to myself. And that means that it definitely was not me. So I start scanning my aura. Usually if I'm in a funk, I scan my aura. I'm like, what's going on? I need to know. Medical intuition, scanning your aura. Do you have another person? Are you sharing energy with somebody? We're going to go through all of that because you guys need to know that when you're reading somebody. A lot of times it's not the person. They come in and they have a physical issue. It's going to be a deceased person that's hanging with them. So in physical mediumship, you're going to feel it in your body physically. Okay. You might go around somebody who has a stomach ache, who has nausea, who have headaches, and all of a sudden you have one. Do you feel like is anybody here a physical medium person? Deb is? Oh, Tia is too? Okay. So I would notice, right? I would take note if somebody's complaining about something, seeing how you feel. I always thought that I did a really good job like boarding that up because I'm like, I don't want empathy at all. I just want to block that out. But I find that I really do need it to understand and communicate with the person in front of me, right, who's coming in. And emotional empathy is when you feel all the emotions, right? You get up and you're in grief, or you're crying, or you're upset, right? You're feeling some sort of energy that may not be you, can be someone else. I love the days when I just drive to the graveyard because I feel like I just need to go to the graveyard. Believe me, that has nothing to do with me, right? Why do you do the things that you do? I want you to have the awareness and start questioning, what is the energy going around me? Because the more that you're aware of who you are, your own energy, then you can discern other energies that are coming through. Okay, that's a big part of it. Or else you're going to go around thinking that you need a hip replacement all day and it's not yours. You're going to be like, oh, I know it. This hip, it's going. All right, clairvoyance. Found in the third eye chakra, ability to see events or objects that are not perceived by the physical eyes. So my example was N-Dub's liver on the radio show. If you saw it, there was a reel about it. And I didn't know I was being recorded. I'm bad with this stuff. The light on means red, it's recorded. White means not. Some girls in my face with a camera. I don't know. I just do my job, right? He says, look at my liver. Your liver's not on your left side, but I was looking at him. So it just made sense to me because it's on his right. But anyways, and I brought his liver forward to go see it. And I saw the rose from Beauty and the Beast with a glass over it. So I spoke to him not in energy colors, I spoke to him in metaphors from Beauty and the Beast, which is bizarre to me because I don't watch Disney and I haven't seen Beauty and the Beast since I was really little. So I'm like, okay, well, the way that I see your liver is a rose and it's being protected right now. Now, when I looked at the rose was a little wilted over and it's coming back up to life. So when I saw that image, I said, okay, it's being protected right now as it's healing, right? That image told me that story. So then I verified it with him and he said, okay. The other guy said that he got his numbers checked and that he went from not doing good, his enzymes from not doing good, and now he's doing better. So he's in balance right now. So it didn't come through as a check mark. Good job. Your liver's doing great, right? Like a grade. It came through. And when I told him, apparently he's a big Disney fan. So I didn't understand my communication with him because I don't talk in Disney. However, he understood it and he's like, that's wild, right? And then he says, I don't want to say you're a witch, but I think you might be. I was like, oh, that's an interesting. But anyways, so liver came through, the image came through clairvoyantly. That's what I saw. And I didn't, sometimes I close my eyes if I really have to concentrate on something. And sometimes I have my eyes open because I can just see images. One of the ways, we're going to practice tons of ways to open up your abilities, but my favorite way to open up clairvoyance is from reading. So when you read something, I want you to picture what you're reading. Does that make sense? So get some kind of book, whatever, storyline, a killer, a love story, whatever you want, and I want you to visualize it, and that really works the muscle of your clairvoyance. That's my favorite way to do it. All right, so that's clairvoyance. Clairaudience is found in your mental space, which is also found above your ears. It's usually up here. Past lives are found through here, just letting you know. If you ever do Reiki, put your hands back here, past lives, hands up here, clairaudience. All right, and this is when you hear a sound that is not perceived by the everyday sense of hearing. So a lot of times it comes through as thoughts that just get dropped into your head, right? I've only heard things outside of my ear twice. One was a not good thing. Okay, 3 times. The second one was a dog who said, hello, Amber. Clearly heard that from the dog who was dying. I should mention that. He was dying. And I was sitting with him and I heard him say, hello, Amber. And I was like, oh my goodness. My whole world stopped when I heard. I literally heard the personality of this dog. Voice, male, old band sounding, slow, and I was like, that dog just talked to me. It wasn't my dog. I was sitting there for a friend. And I was like, oh, that I didn't even know her. Long story. She just knocked on my door and told me to sit with her dog. I just moved into the neighborhood. I was like, I will sit with your dog. Okay. But that's what it sounded like outside of my voice. And then the third time I heard a lady literally come from the clouds. I'm at a campfire with a bunch of people. Lady voice come from the clouds. I wasn't doing anything spiritual. I was just sitting at the fireplace. And she said, hi, Amber. And I was like, I froze. Because I'm like, there's a voice that just came from the cloud, like above me. Like, what is that? Right? So 3 times in my whole life. Everything else is thoughts that get dropped in. And now you're looking for the difference. Did it just drop in? Or did you have a thought that went to another thought that went to another thought? So sometimes I have to backtrack my thoughts. Like, why did I think about my neighbor? Maybe I need to call him. But then I would say, okay, I thought about my neighbor because I thought about his mom. You know what I mean? So like sometimes your thoughts trail over. You're looking for the thoughts that you're in the shower, you're doing nothing, you're washing the dishes, you're not paying attention to anything, and all of a sudden it's call your mom. That's what I'm talking about. That is the clairaudience that comes through. And sometimes I can come through to like warn you, like, don't make a left turn. And then all of a sudden a car comes through a light, right? That's why we want to have all these things open, our intuition, When our intuition's open, then we are warned, we are directed, we are helped by our guides and our team. So that's what we're really going to be working on to make sure that, one, you trust yourself, because that's where the big hiccup is. I don't trust myself. We're going to get through that too. I'm going to show you how to trust yourself. We're going to get through that. All right, so preparing your energy, there's two systems of energy. You have Mother Earth energy, and you also,
Amber, can I interrupt you? I don't know if you can see me.
yeah,
I
hi,
was raising my hand.
I'm sorry.
So if you hear it, if it's not clairaudience and you hear it outside of your head, and you heard the dog and you heard the woman from the clouds, is that a mediumship? What is that?
It can, no, it just can come across that way. It can come as an outside voice, but 95% of the time, it's going to be from your thoughts. Like you're not
Okay.
going to listen, you're not going to hear a voice talk to you outside your head all the time. Normally, that's not how it comes through.
But I have received messages like that. Is that my spirit team talking to me
More than
then?
likely,
Okay.
your higher self or your spirit team. So I would ask Megan, I would throw it back to them. You know, sorry. I'm like, you know, I'd be like, I want to know who you are. Who do you work for? You tell me right now. Like, I have been, I've been to the point where Sylvia Brown comes to me and I said, I need somebody to help me. And she's like, Sylvia Brown's here. And I literally went, I don't know if I trust you. I don't want to talk to you right now. Right. And I dismissed her because I was like, do I trust her? I don't know. I got to talk to another guide and ask another guy if I'm going to trust her. Right. So I would point blank because they have to tell the truth. Right. They cannot lie. They cannot deceive.
It's never been anything sketchy. It's been 100% true and for my highest and greatest good, the information that comes through. So I'm just was curious. It's not, if that's not clairvoyance, then that's
That's
just my team.
clairaudience. Yeah, that's clairaudience. But 95% of the time it comes through as your thought, not from outside.
Okay.
Not that
Thank
there's
you.
anything wrong with that.
No, not wrong. I just somebody's talking to me.
Yeah, not wrong, but it might be how it goes. Do you like hear when I say outside, like I had some evil thing spit at me outside and talk outside, and I heard that like leave them alone, like whisper, like I heard them outside.
Yeah,
Is
no,
that
I've definitely heard it outside, but I've also heard it inside.
okay?
But I think they're slightly different. I would agree with that. When it's outside, it's clear as day
Hmm.
what I hear. But I think it must have been more of a spirit talking to me or someone in my team, and that's different than what drops into my head, which is how you're
Usually,
explaining it. Yeah.
yeah, from your thoughts. So I would throw back and say, "Who are you?" Right? I want to know who I'm talking to. I think that's like such a valid question because I think that we forget that we are part of this. Like you get to create your team. You get to see who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with. And not everybody's in your highest good, which is always interesting to me. Because you would think that if you get messages, that it's just going to be on the highest good of all. So you set the intention always for the highest good to come through, right? Sometimes you go on a journey because your highest good might be to learn something. So it's all interesting. That's how I say, well, that's interesting. Every time I'm like, you learn something new. Like no matter how often you do something, you're always learning or diving into something or expanding in some way. So I just throw it back and ask, well, who am I talking to? This is my grandmother. Okay. Is this how you're always going to talk to me? Is this how I'm going to know that you are you from the outside voice? But like truly, there are a lot of spirits around us at all times. At all times. Some of them are aware of us and some of them are not, going through the dimensions and walking through. And some of them are like, hey, help me, I'm with you. So it's always interesting. I felt so confident when I go into my car before I go into like any kind of mediumship reading. I feel, I hear, I sense the presence of the departed in my car with me. So they usually tell me their names that are coming with me, and then I go to the location and I'm like, hey, I have this person, this person, this person. I've done lots of reels on it by telling you who it is before I go. And I went up to the radio station. I said, Jim's with me, and he has blue shirt and he has tattoos. And they're like, nope, there's no Jim. There's no Jim. And I was like, that's so weird because I know that he came with me. And I come home and we always joke, and I just forgot about it. Like, there's a man in my house, that spirit that comes through, and my husband named him Jim. And I was like, don't name him anything. But he does. He named him Jim. So it was interesting. I think he just came in for the ride with me. I totally like forgot about it. I'm like, no, I got Jim. I know I do. He's with me. But they're always with us and they're always moving around, which is just intriguing to me. All right, so your two energy systems, I don't know what that circle is, but okay. All right, you have two energy systems. You have, you have divine source energy that's always coming from that seventh dimension, the all that is, that's coming down. When it comes down, you're usually receiving downloads of information. This is where you get your activations. This is where you get your codes. This is where you get download of information, Akashic records, everything that you need to know. So spirit information comes down, right? And then you also have Mother Earth energy. And you pretty much, Mother Earth energy is down here, but you want Mother Earth energy to come into your system. You need to work with both of these. Yeah, this is how it works. In your heart chakra. I should get different colors. Look at that. Okay, so here's your heart chakra. And it loops. It's like the divine energy comes through, goes down into your heart, comes down into Mother Earth, goes back over like your figure eight. And this is how a clear aura really should work. Up and down. You're looping both of them together. You're having an equal amount of energy coming close. When you get to your heart chakra, we all know that the heart is it's kind of like your second brain. That's what we call it, right? Your second brain. This is where the love, this is where the communication, this is where the electromagnetic field is. And then you shift all of this energy out, 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 out. What you're shifting out the love, and what are you creating? Your protective field from Mother Earth and from Divine Spirit coming together and going around you. Right? We go with those two? So divine source conscious energy, and you need a healthy Mother Earth. Usually healers, intuitives, they don't have really good earth energy. You have to keep checking on your earth energy, because what? We sit in meditation and we get high. And when I say high, I mean like light, airy, high feeling, right? And you're getting all these downloads of information to come through. And then we have to ground. It's really important to ground. You need both of them in your system. You are a 3D person right now, not in spirit. So when we're talking about grounding, grounding releases energy so you don't gain weight after your healing and readings. When you read for somebody, you are exchanging, right, information, you're exchanging energy, and you will know that you haven't disconnected from somebody when you're still thinking about them, when you're still like, oh my goodness, I can't believe what this person went through, or if you held on to something in their imprint. We have to release that back down. Let it go. Okay, let it go. So grounding, you can get grounding mats. If you've ever seen them, you can plug them into the wall, sleep with them in bed. They're pretty cool. You can put them in under your feet. Grounding breath work, I find, works the best. Activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which can promote relaxation and counter the fight or flight. Sometimes, especially people who have like trauma, you'll realize that their fight or flight response in their adrenals is kind of like rapid, right? It kind of just goes and goes really, really quick. So they need more grounding. So this helps you, and it also helps you to teach your client these techniques on how to ground, right? How to calm down. We're usually going from this to that to this, like every day when people say, can I have a session with you? I literally have to, I'm like, I have no time, because I'm going from here to here to here to here. You know what that does to my nervous system? I have to like bath and zen and ground and release all throughout the day, or else I'm not going to be good. And if I'm not good, I can't be any help for anybody else. One of the techniques you can do is box breathing. When you close your eyes, you inhale slowly through your nose, and it's 4-4-4-4. So you inhale through your nose, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, right? Like a box. So start back over. You inhale for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4. And you keep doing it over 1 to 4 minutes until you're completely relaxed. And you can do this to help you. You can do this to help your client. Just kind of calm down and go, whew, okay, now we can start again. We don't use the breath enough. We usually hold it and we have shallow breathing instead of like really releasing and letting things go. A lot of times when I'm healing somebody and we're doing like the deep work, because that's what I say, it is the deep work. And I'm like, where's the pain at? It's right here. Breathe it out. Breathe it out. I want you to feel it. I want you to sense it. I want you to breathe it in. And usually the person will let out a cry or a cough. I had a cough. Some people cough. All right. But it's a release of energy that comes through. They scream. It's like, "Ah, I don't know where this came from." And they feel 100% better at the end because it's been in them for so long. You know, when you have like anger and you want to go hit pillows and just get it all out, it's the same thing for calming down. You have like this energy within you that needs to be released, and you're teaching your body again how to relax and take in deep breaths. So that's a good technique to use for you and client. When you are doing divine connection, you start in with Mother Earth. So you always start at the bottom and then you go through your energy centers and you go up, 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 and you keep going up, 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 right? And you can bring it back down if you want, like in that circle, and come back down and go up. Usually I'm like this. All right, you know, like a saucer. Maybe I am an ET saucer. Yes, because they spin around so fast. I feel like that's what I do. Maybe I'm just getting ready for my preparing to go off. Okay, so I want you guys to do that. Actually coming into your center, right? Because you need to know what it's like to get in touch with all that is the 7th dimension and how that feels. A lot of times when you hit that divine connection, you're going to feel lightheaded. You're going to feel spacey. You're going to feel like, sometimes you get chills. You can get, you know, the goosebumps and everything that you're there. But that's where the work is. That's where the information is to come down. So we have to practice going up, and then you can come back down through grounding and being present. That's what grounding is. Grounding is being present in your body, being here, being in the now. So if you feel really spacey, they also say to like look around and name 5 things that you see that puts you in the present moment, right? Name 5 things, because then your mind is going, okay, there's a door and there's a wall and there's the carpet, and then it puts you down into the present moment. It's like a therapy technique. All right, so awaken state from the 3D to the 5D. The one thing that helps clarity for you to reach up, besides sitting and meditating all the time, sorry, my dog is on me, is to detox the physical body, right? Because you're holding on to so much. Now, can you get up to the 7th dimension if you haven't detoxed and you ate a bar of cheese? Yes, you can. Okay. However, the more clear your vessel is, the easier it is to get up there. 100%. 100%. When I was on my top game, my top game, I was smoothing it, I was juicing, I was running the 2, I want to say 2 miles, it's 2 hours. Like I would just go out and run, right? I was on the top shape. You have to take care of your physical body. So I wrote down a bunch of stuff that holds your body back from not being able to detox. Petroleum-based products. I'll have to go to this place. I gave you guys links for everything. The 10 things that's surprisingly made with petroleum. And I'm like, what could possibly be made with petroleum? I don't even want to admit this to you. I ran out of makeup remover. Don't tell. So you know what I did? Vaseline, because I had this black mascara that was like all the way down and I couldn't lick it and get it off. And I was like, what would be the best thing to get my makeup off? Vaseline. So you just take it on, right? Good for your skin. Right off. Chemicals and toxins. Let's talk about that. Chemicals and toxins, my friends. That's the obvious one. Petroleum-based jelly. You know what I'm talking about? The Vaseline stuff in the jar. Babies, you put on baby's butt for skins. Really good for makeup remover if you're ever in a bind. Okay. Heavy metals such as lead, mercury. And you're like, well, I don't have mercury. It's in fish, right? So if you eat fish, there's going to be levels of mercury in there. Dentist, when you do dentist work, there's mercury in there. Aluminum, do you cook in aluminum pots and pans? All the chemicals leach over to your beautiful organic meats and veggies, let me tell you, and gets all on them, and then you consume them, right? Zinc is leaky gut imbalances. And then shots. And when I said shots, not like shots like we're going out for liquor, shots like shots, right? Like you're sick and you get a shot or you're trying to get an immune shot, right? That also has metals in it. So I went through and just copied some stuff down because sometimes we don't think about this stuff. We get up in the morning and we're like, I want to be closer to spirit and I want to do things, but we also have to detox the physical body as well. My biggest offender is mold in my coffee. And you would think that there might not be mold in your coffee. There's mold in your coffee. Starbucks, so sorry. Starbucks, go organic. But that's, by the time they get the beans too and they come over, there's little pieces, there's mold in there. Have it checked, there's mold in there. Fluoride, you'll always hear about fluoride and the effects on the pineal gland. So let's see, I copied this down because I thought it was interesting. This is from the NPDI.com. The effect of fluoride on the human body is characterized by a very narrow margin of safety, which means even relatively low concentrations may cause various adverse or even toxic effects on your body. The risk naturally increases with the intensity of duration of exposure. What do you brush your teeth with? Fluoride, right? I brush my teeth 5 to 6 times a day because I'm just freaking crazy about it. Don't ask why. If I have coffee, I have to brush my teeth. If I go out, I have to brush my teeth. If I do a Zoom, I have to brush my teeth. I don't know what it is. I cannot talk on a Zoom without brushing my teeth first, as if you guys could smell my breath. But I do it all the time, right? And it has to do, because I do it so much, I'm also always cautious about the fluoride. So you can buy toothpaste like Tom's that doesn't have fluoride in it. Look at your products because they're affecting on you to open up your pineal gland to connect in to spirit. This is like true facts that you can find. So if you're like, I meditate all the time and I'm not reaching up there, I'm not getting anything, I want you to really be cautious about your diet, about what goes in, about toxins. This is all about toxins. Wait until we hit Parasite Week. Sorry. I just saw Tia. Tia, do you want me to tell you the top two items, food items that have parasites? No, yes, no, yes. You want me to wait? Number 1 is meat. Number 2 is cheese. Legitly, I'm eating cheese when I found out about this. And I was like, oh, but it's Cabot. It's a good cheese. Oh, I love cheese. Okay, so that's what it is for toxins. And this is interesting. If you have toxins in your body, a lot of times you actually need to go to a doctor to help you diagnose and how to release toxins. You can do these things. These things usually help take care of it. But sometimes if you have really bad toxins in your system, then you want to go to a doctor. Toxins metaphysically means that there's lies and deception. So what are you hiding from yourself? What are you not seeing from yourself? What lies are going on around you, right? If you have a very toxic body, then I want you to look metaphysically into lies and deception. To counteract any kind of toxins, cilantro is amazing. And you can eat it. There's even a medical medium, if you've heard of him, came out with the detox smoothie. cilantro, cilantro, cilantro. So you can have like 2 tablespoons, yeah, like each meal, more than that if you want. And you put it on top and just like eat it plain as is. You can juice it, cilantro. Staying hydrated, black oh my goodness, charcoal. That is that is the stuff. You can take like 2 teaspoons in the morning, and then if you took it at 6, you would take like another 2, like 3 hours later. That flushes out your system. It goes down into your number 2, like right away. So that's really good stuff. If people who have herbal poisoning, they're usually giving that to flush it out. Sprouts, any kind of sprouts helps to detox you. So I'm talking about, the little sprouts in the that you put on top of your salads that nobody, radish sprouts, broccoli sprouts, like nobody ever knows what to do with them. And they're like, oh, I'm just going to surpass them. I love them. They look like clover sprouts. That's my favorite. I love all of them. Bur- Sorry, I have a Berkey for the fluoride and made Shungite water for toxins. That's a good idea, Deb. I like Shungite water too. Shungite is a crystal that you can also use. There's so many things that you can do. It's almost like we have to keep up with the toxins and releasing them from our body because there's so much going on out there that we just don't even think about. Like even tonight when I made potatoes. I'll tell you what I made for dinner for my family. Green beans, broccoli, peppers, potatoes, and chicken apple sausage. One top, threw it into olive oil, threw it in there. But I put aluminum foil down. And after I did it, I was like, oh, and then put it in there. But guess what? Toxins, people, toxins. I know the better. I know better. All right. And then you also have, okay, I can say this word, cruciferous. Yeah. Yeah. Close enough. Broccoli, cauliflower, right? Those big leafy things, those kind of veggies. But if you're going to go for like detox for toxins for vegetables, I would go to sprouts before I would go to broccoli. Just to let you know, like sprouts is higher content for detoxing than your broccoli. Like you can just need a little bit of sprouts. That would be like a big thing of broccoli. All right. So this week, because we got through all of that, your homework. Is there something that you would like to heal in your body? And I love this question because we're starting it off on the 12 weeks. Like when you're thinking about your body, is there something that you want to heal? So yes, obviously we're going to learn how to see with x-ray vision and heal others, but I also want you to have a transformation yourself so that you have what it's like to experience the things that we do. So I'm going to make it more, it's for you and it's also for helping other people as well. So anything, any kind of physical issue, I love the mysterious pains. You know what I'm talking about? And you're like, oh, I've gone to the hospital 1,000 times over my gallbladder. And they're like, nope, your gallbladder's fine. I'm like, yeah, you're not taking it, but there's something going on in there, right? Until I like literally got to sit down and I said, gallbladder, what is going on? Because I don't want my gallbladder out. Like, I don't want any part of my body removed, right? So I sit down and I get really, really quiet. And it's like, Amber, you have to let go of the gluten. The gluten is the fact for your gallbladder. You need to stop it. You need to give it a break, right? So I haven't experienced any like of that sharp pain that comes in. Because there's some days I'm like, I'm going to lose my appendix. I'm going to lose my gallbladder. Something's going to come out of me if I don't sit down and figure out what this is, right? So the question for you in your journal, your first question, what is it that you would like to heal? Is there something physically that you would like to experience a healing around? And then I would mark in your calendar a time this week when you're going to go to the 7th dimension. You have to meditate. When people are like, you're a really good psychic, you're a really good medium, you have to do the work. Sorry, Megan. I don't know. You just looked at me. Did you need something? No. You good? Okay. So you have to do the work. When you're like, well, I don't know, I'm using my psychic abilities, but I'm not sensing, feeling, or understanding. Are you sitting down? Like for me, I have to designate time every single day. And you know what I do in that time? I say, okay, team, this is your time. It's not my time, it's your time. I need you to come down with downloads and I'm here at 9 o'clock every single whatever it is, and I'm going to stay here for 15 minutes. When I cross people over, I legitly make time every single week. They know when I'm going to show up. They know when I'm going to be there, what I'm going to sit down, and what I'm going to do, right? I designate time with them, and it's in my calendar, like 9 o'clock, 9:30, around there at night. That's my time. So my family's doing things 9 until 10, my time. So I sit and meditate and I say, okay, I want to go to the seventh dimension and I want to get downloads during this time. And I'll ask any questions that I have. I want you to do the same thing, and you can just do it for 15 minutes. Sometimes you'll get up there and you won't want to come down. Like sometimes I meditate before I see a client and I'm like, 10 minutes, like I could stay up here for 20. You know what I mean? You won't want to come down, but it's just the consistency. Spirit likes consistency. Spirit likes when you sit in a spot and that's your meditation spot. Then they know the light turns on and it's like, okay, like I've sat in this chair for 3 years. Spirit knows that when I sit down in this chair, all the deceased people are allowed to come through to me. All of the angels are allowed to come through to me. Like this is my spot, right? It's my on button. So designate that one spot in your room, in your house, wherever you are at. Designate the time, because when you dedicate yourself to spirit, spirit shows up. When you half-ass it, guess what? Just do better. Commit to it. Do better, right? Show up, because that's what they like. You are literally making an appointment with your spirit team and they will show up for you. You're making this beautiful relationship stronger and stronger and stronger, so that no matter where you go, you're going to trust yourself because you've built that relationship. It has to start somewhere. So mark in your calendar a time that you're going to sit down and go to the seventh dimension this week. If you can do it a few times, fantastic. I mean, you should ideally do it daily, because I can't imagine not getting guidance or not knowing what I'm supposed to do or not having some sort of direction come in, right? We get really, really good, and then all of a sudden we turn off the path and we're like, oh, I got this, we're fine. And we forget to dedicate the time. But that's the most important part. And then also when you go up there, ask a question, right? Maybe there's something you do want to heal in your physical body, or maybe there's something that you want to know about. Listen and see how that information comes through. Did you get an image? Did you hear something? Did you see something? Because that's going to be the way that spirit communicates with you when you're with other clients, right? That's how you're open to receive. And one's not better than the other. And usually when you work on one, then it opens up another and it opens up another one anyway. And all of a sudden you're going to have all of them in your back pocket. So don't be like, oh, I really want a clairvoyance, but I didn't see anything yet. It will come. It'll come. And if it doesn't come, what we do during this class is we knock down your belief systems of why you're blocking yourself from seeing. We'll get you there. By the end, you will do everything. We got that. All right. And then your last thing, maybe you can look over of how you can clean up your physical body, right? What can you do this week? Add in more water. Water's huge. If you don't drink enough water, you're not going to be able to hold the charge in order to help, and you're going to feel plateaued out when you're done. So that's really important too. Now I'm including this week this fun. I took a class 2016. It's called the Food and Spirit. Deanna Minnick, she's still my friend on Facebook. I'm still in her groups. I do things from time to time within the group of Food and Spirit. But one of the things that I had to help my clients is this amazing chart. And it kind of like keeps track of what you eat, what you drink, and your energy, right? So you can say, okay, it's not helping me when I have XYZ. Maybe I'm going to take that out and shift it, because a lot of times we need something like logically to tell us. So proteins, animal, vegetable, meaning hemp, tofu, root vegetables, red, like what did you eat in the morning? And then you would go down. Did you have fat and oils? Did you have carbohydrates? Did you have vegetable? Did you have liquid foods or the others? And in your morning, you would just check off from the sections that you would have. In the afternoon, you would check it off, and in the evening. And what you will find out is that you're probably missing a whole color of something. So these are all based upon colored of foods, meaning red is meats and beans, and there's carbs are yellow, solar plexus, because the solar plexus is where you burn your energy at. So all of them, fish is in with the sacral, going with the flow manifestation. And then your vegetables, your greens are in the heart chakra. Throat chakra is going to be soups or teas and fruits. And then you come up to the other, which is up here through here. Maybe you had too much caffeine and you're like, wow, with all this caffeine, I'm not connecting in. Maybe I can add in some more water. So this is kind of like your beautiful chart so that you can see. What I found out is that I was always missing a color. You ideally want to eat the whole color of the rainbow, right? We need all spectrums of light. So you will find out what you're missing or what you're overdoing, and it keeps you on track because you say, okay, my energy was really low. I had this. My energy was really good and I connected in and I did this day. So for me, I know that I cannot eat prior to channeling. Like I just can't do it at all. If I do, I feel too heavy and I can't hit spirit. That was learned through many times practicing. So I have water. I fast basically before I go in to do a big event. And even I'm doing an exclusive private event next month. And she's like, we have butternut squash soup and we have this beautiful leg of lamb of whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like saliving at this menu. But I know that if I eat, I'm not going to be able to channel well, right? So you will find out your flow of what you can have. But afterwards, take me to Taco Bell. Afterwards, take me out for chicken because I love chicken, fried chicken, especially after I channel. Why? Because it's grounding, right? So I'm like, please, that's what I need. Let's see. Deb says, I don't eat until the evening ever. I'm not a morning person. Like I won't eat in the morning. I can skip everything and I can have my first meal at lunch. You will find your flow. A little sluggish, yes. All right, now on the back of this page, this is kind of the emotional stuff. Like, did you hang out with your tribe? Did you hang out with a community, right? Are you in need of that? Emotions, what emotions? Because you might find out that when you have, like I have coffee, I'm very agitated in the morning. I will have, if I have 2 cups, I'm okay. If I have 3 cups, that's a big no-no. So sometimes, I'll have like 2 cups, drop off the kids, and then I'll have 2 more. And then I won't eat, right? And then I'm agitated and I'm shaky. So what emotions did I have from that? Life balance, what does that look like? Did I physically move? Words of truth, meaning do you speak your truth? Sleep and meditation, and then spiritual cleansing practices. So this is kind of like your daily tracker of how you're running life from a visual perspective. And I know that it helps a lot of people to actually, like you may know what you do, but when you put it on a calendar, when you see it, where all of your time's going, where all of your money's going, if you're, given the things that you want, the time that you want, it gives you this awakening moment. Okay. So this week is about understanding your energy. It's about tapping into the highest spirit, the all that is in the 7th field, 7th dimension, which is what we want. And it's also about understanding what moves you and what doesn't move you to get you closer up. Okay. So this way, when you go in for a reading, I've read literally tons and tons and tons of people. One day, like when I was working over at Lunar Bay, when I met you guys, probably 2016, I'm talking to Megan when I pointed to her, 2016, maybe 2017, back in the day. And I would do readings like 4 or 5 back to back to back to back. I didn't eat. I would channel or I would do Reiki, hour-long sessions. And then I would sleep the next day, like be knocked on my ass, couldn't do anything. And it's because I wasn't taking care of my energy. I was taking on other people's energies, right? And not that you mean to, I had a lot of deceased people come home with me. That was a big problem that I didn't know existed until I knew that they were there, right? Big problem, like 200 of them, like big problem coming on over here. And I would go into bed the next day and I'm like, I just can't get out of bed. Don't talk to me. And then I would question, like, why do I do this job? Like, what motivates me to go out and help other people when I am in bed all day the next day, chugging water, just trying to rejuvenate? So then you learn how to take care of your energy so that when you're doing your sessions, you don't get overwhelmed. You don't gain the weight. You don't go out and do the things that like affect you in not a great way, and that you could start fresh the next day again. That's why it's so important to do this stuff. So do you guys have any questions at all about this week or what we talked about or went through at all? Oh, Megan, I'm always up for a question from you. I'm like, come on. If I did a good job, Megan doesn't have any questions. No? Okay. If you do have a question and something comes up this week, then go into the Facebook. I'm going to accept everybody and just write whatever comes up for you. There are meditations that are coming in. I just have to figure out how to download it. So I've already recorded it. I just got to figure out how to download it to put it onto the platform for you guys. So some of them are in grounding, and one of them is reaching up to higher planes, right? And how you move through there. I'm going to give you a whole collection. By the time we're done, you're just going to have a whole collection of meditations that you can go through and pick whatever you need for the day, because I think that they're extremely important. And later, when we get into it, you're going to have meditations on how to rewrite the subconscious. So everything that we're doing is all through just receiving information, downloading it, opening up our awareness for this week. Okay, understanding how you work before you can help somebody else. Okay, that's all I got. I am so glad to be with you all because I know each and every one of you guys. So I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. It's a really good group. So I'm just excited to connect in with you guys. Okay, you have a question now? She doesn't. I thought you said yes. Okay, no problem. All right, if you do have any questions, just let me know. And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Look in your Podia and you'll see the PowerPoint presentation. Good. All right. I'll see you next week. Okay, bye.